Today is another exciting day in Ottawa. There is never a dull moment here in the nation's capital. Here on Monday, we have a very busy day planned. I will first be attending a press conference that is being hosted by Campaign 2000. Campaign 2000 is a coalition of stakeholders and groups across the country which actually has a plan to reduce poverty in Canada. I am there representing the leader, Stéphane Dion, on behalf of the Liberal Party as a critic for social development. Mr. Dion, just a few weeks ago, actually announced a plan to reduce poverty in Canada. It was called the 30-50 Plan for Poverty Reduction, with an aim to reduce poverty in Canada over a period of 5 years by 30%, and to reduce the number of children living in poverty by 50%.
788,000 children live in poverty in Canada today, and they live in poverty across the country. Child poverty rates are at double-digit levels in all provinces except Alberta, Quebec, and PEI.
As teachers, we know what child poverty in Canada looks like. We see it every day in our classrooms. We see children and youth who are too hungry to learn. We see children without proper winter clothing, and children who are left out of field trips and school activities because their families cannot afford them. Teachers see low-income children who are frequently ill and who are living in homeless shelters and who carry a burden of worry for their families. And we see the long-term consequences of poverty with higher school dropout rates for children who grow up in poverty. Child and family poverty affects all of us. All of our children should have the right to a brighter future.
We take a look at the statistics for a country that has such tremendous economic growth and prosperity. I think that we have, as a nation, a lot of work to do. And we need to have a government, as Campaign 2000 has mentioned, that has a plan. A government that has a vision, has targets, timelines, and benchmarks. And that is why our leader, Stéphane Dion, just a few weeks ago, made a major announcement in regards to his commitment and the Liberal Party's commitment to fight poverty in Canada with a 30-50 plan for fighting poverty, which would ensure that over a period of 5 years, we would reduce the number of families living in poverty by 30% and the number of children living in poverty by 50%.
4 provincial governments either have implemented plans or are working on developing them. Premiers of different political stripes are committing to comprehensive, long-term plans. The federal Liberal Party has announced bold targets. The federal government has a crucial role to play by adopting a national poverty reduction strategy that will support the work going on in the provinces. And this is what Canadians want. Polling shows 85% of Canadians believe that if the government takes concrete action, poverty in Canada could be drastically reduced. 88% believe that increasing the minimum wage is a good way to reduce the gap between rich and poor. Canadians have said overwhelmingly, close the poverty gap. That is the country that we want to live in. That's what we expect from our federal government.
I think when it comes to the GST reduction, I think that all Canadians will realize, and all the economists have stated, that can actually be used for other purposes. For many of the people that are watching at home and even here today, the government initially provided their mandate and their speech from the throne, and aside from that child that was on that front cover of that blue booklet, there was nothing about children, there was nothing about poverty, and with the Conservatives, I think the issues of social justice and poverty in this country have fallen off of the agenda. We need to have a government who listens, we need to have a government that has a plan, that has a vision, and actually establishes proper benchmarks to eradicate poverty in Canada.